"You deserve the coffin, not my mom," my son screamed at me, right there at my wife's funeral. The room froze, every eye on us. I didn't argue, I just stood there, because what I was about to discover would silence everyone, even him. What I did next wasn't revenge. It was quiet, legal, and colder than he ever imagined. Man, I swear, time just stopped. You ever been hit with words so hard your brain just blanks out? That was me. Everything around me went slow-mo. People whispering, pretending they didn't hear it, the priest still talking like nothing happened, and I'm just standing there, staring at my own kid, trying to figure out what the hell went wrong. Lena, my wife, she was my whole world. 32 years, man. She was warm, loud, messy, beautiful, smelled like cinnamon rolls and acrylic paint. And now, she was gone. I thought the funeral was supposed to be about her, but no, it turned into something else entirely. Marcus, my son, wasn't even crying. He was standing in the corner with his wife, whispering, scrolling through his damn phone. I tried to give him grace, you know. People grieve different. I told myself, let it go, Tony. But then he looked up, right at me, eyes cold as ice, and said those words, "You should be in that coffin, not Mom." And let me tell you, I wanted to snap. I wanted to yell, shake him, something. But my throat just locked up. I stood there, pretending I didn't hear like some broken statue. After everyone left, I sat alone in the kitchen. Same kitchen where Lena used to hum while making coffee. Still smelled like her. Vanilla, coffee, a bit of paint thinner from her last art piece. I just sat there staring at her favorite mug, and that silence, it was loud, man. Real loud. Then my phone buzzed. One text, then another. Both from Marcus and his wife. "Dad, we need access to Mom's accounts. We'll handle the estate." Estate? She'd just been buried that morning. Are you kidding me? Something in my gut said, check the damn bank. So I opened the app. I wasn't ready for what I saw. Withdrawals, transfers, random names I'd never heard of. Thousands gone. And the worst part? The spending started way before Alina got sick. That's when everything clicked. Those looks at the funeral, the whispering, the sudden rush to talk estate. It wasn't grief, it was guilt. I stared at my reflection in the black screen of my phone and said, "All right, Tony, guess it's time to play detective." That was the night I stopped being the husband who lost his wife and started being the guy who was about to uncover something ugly. Rehook. Wait till you see what showed up in those bank statements. The kind of cold proof that doesn't just break hearts, it burns bridges you thought would never fall. After the funeral, silence kind of moved in with me. Driving home that night, I felt like I was just floating, not thinking, not feeling, just there. The highway was dead quiet, one of those nowhere stretches where you're supposed to process life, but all your brain does is loop the same damn scene on repeat. When I pulled into the driveway, folks were still hanging around. Neighbors, cousins, church people, whispering like grief was some kind of secret you had to talk about softly. Somebody checked their watch, somebody laughed too loud and cut it off halfway through, and I caught all of it. Funny, 'cause Lena used to be the one who noticed those tiny things. She'd nudge me and go, "Tony, you're in your own world again." Yeah, well, that world's gone now. Now it's just me, and those little sounds, they hit like nails tapping on a coffin. People brought casseroles, pies, sympathy cards, the whole small-town grief starter pack. God bless them, but man, comfort food don't do much when your house smells like loss. Everyone kept talking about Lena, how she ran the literacy drive, how she baked for the neighbors, how she was basically sunshine in human form. I nodded and smiled, said all the polite things, but inside, everything felt hollow, like somebody pulled one brick out of my whole foundation, and now it's starting to loon. When the last car left, that silence came crawling back, thicker this time. I sat in the dark, just listening, the fridge humming, the old clock ticking, the air conditioner sighing every few minutes. That's grief, I guess. Background noise you can't shut off. Then around 2 in the morning, my phone lights up like a damn Christmas tree. Pings, missed calls, texts, all from Marcus, my son. Dad, we need to talk about the will. The will? Man, I hadn't thought about that thing in 20 years. Me and Lena signed it when life felt solid, when family still meant something. And now my boy's texting about it before her flowers even start to wilt? I just stared at that screen, didn't reply. Couldn't. Felt like that phone was burning a hole straight through my hand. Sleep wasn't coming, so I made some jet black coffee, strong enough to melt the spoon, and started digging through drawers. Old tax returns, dental practice receipts, warranty slips. My hands were shaking, not from fear, from realization. See, I used to fix teeth. Now I was about to dig into something rotten. I grabbed a legal pad, old habit, and wrote 3 lines. Call attorney, check accounts, find out who's been buying what. That was the moment. The line between pretending everything's fine and actually finding out it ain't. I chose the trail. So I make this one call, right? Figure it's gonna flip the script on everything. Then the bank statements land in my mailbox and I'm bugging. The numbers are so out of pocket, it's like I'm looking at some other dude's life, some high roll his wild ride. But you ain't even ready for the total. That number? It's straight up bananas. I didn't plan to turn into some kind of detective. It just happened. Next morning, I called my old business attorney, Sal, the same guy who helped me unload my dental practice years ago. Told him I needed access to all our joint accounts, like yesterday. He started hemming and hawing, talking about process and timing. I told him to cut the crap. I wasn't asking, I was telling. By lunchtime, I was at the bank, sitting in one of those glass cubicles that make you feel like a prize poodle at a dog show. The air smelled of stale coffee and industrial-grade cleaner. The manager was polite in that plastic corporate way. "We're so sorry for your loss, Mr. Rivera." Yeah, right. I wasn't there for a Hallmark card. I was there for the truth. She slid a stack of printouts across the polished desk, thick enough to choke a horse. And right there, black ink on white paper, was the story I'd been living without a clue. Money had been moving, a boatload of it. Wire transfers, cash withdrawals, new accounts I'd never heard of. Some in Lena's name, some in mine, some joint. But the real kicker? Regular payments I couldn't trace. Few grand here, 5 grand there, all funneled to some shady little LLC I'd never heard of. At first, I figured it was a screw-up, identity theft, some online scam. Then I saw one of the transfer memos, typed out clear as day. 4M Rivera. Marcus. I swear for a second the whole world went silent. My body forgot whether to breathe or just punch a hole through the wall. The manager kept droning on, something about how all the authorizations appeared to be in order, but her voice was just background noise. All I could think about was how my own son had been blowing up my phone about the will like some kind of vulture, while my money was being siphoned out of accounts with both our names on them. I took the papers home, spread them out on the kitchen table like a crime scene. The numbers didn't lie. They told a story clearer than any conversation we'd ever had. My wife, my son, both of them in on it somehow. And me, the chump dentist who never read the fine print. I kept digging. Payments to that LLC went back almost a year, even before Lena got sick. It made me think of last Christmas, how she'd seemed so distracted. I'd chalked it up to holiday stress, but now? Big withdrawals some months, other months just enough to keep the lights on. Was this hush money? That night I poured myself a stiff bourbon, first one in years. Sat in the same worn armchair where Lena used to read her trashy novels, and I kept asking myself the same damn question. Was she in on this scam, or did he use his sick mother's name to cover his tracks? I didn't want the answer, but I needed it. So I called Sal again, told him to earn his retainer, find out where that LLC was registered, who was behind it, and where every last dime was going. He said it might take a few days to untangle. I told him that was fine. I'd been married 30 years. I could wait a few more days to find out if it was all a lie. That wait, it didn't end quietly, because when the truth finally came back, it didn't just change what I thought about them. It changed who the hell I thought I was. I try to keep my life steady. I go to the clinic, read the x-rays, and remember what it was like being a dentist in a town where everybody knows your business. A job where people spill their guts while you numb their gums. I'm focused, professional. Then the waiting room turns into a damn circus. Marcus storms in the way he always does, loud, hot, and leaving a mess in his wake. He points a finger right at me, his voice bouncing off the sterile tile. "You blocked the accounts! You cut us off!" He's yelling. Every patient in the place just stares. A 90-year-old woman grips her cane like she's about to get mugged. I take a slow breath. I don't raise my voice. I call security, not to put on a show, but because we've got protocols for this kind of freakout. The guard gently steers Marcus toward the door, but not before he gets one last shot in. "You'll regret this," he snarls. A ripple of whispers follows him out. So much for a quiet Tuesday. Next thing I know, word is spreading. Social media, of course, picks up the scent of scandal like a bloodhound. Marcus posts his version, a tight sob story about a father who went ice cold the second his wife died. He paints himself as the devoted son, the one who stayed and cared. Total BS. People eat it up. My timeline explodes with hot takes. Neighbors start picking sides. My phone buzzes off the hook with texts, some supportive, some telling me I'm a monster. An old buddy texts, "Hold tight, man, this is garbage." A colleague tells me to just lay low and say nothing. So I keep my head down and move the way I always have, one steady step at a time. I file the official bank freeze, cancel the credit cards, and lock down the plan with my daughter Maya and Sal, the attorney. She's got Lena's fire, thank God. I refuse to get into a piss match online. I know that game. Drama wins, nuance gets buried. My strategy is simple. Let the paperwork do all the talking. Meanwhile, Marcus ramps up the theater. He gives some interview to a local blogger and posts pictures of himself at the house trying to look heartbroken. The narrative is so clean it almost hurts. Grieving kids, selfish old man. But the internet has the memory of a goldfish. My circle starts to rally. Former patients, neighbors, even ladies from Lena's old volunteer group start leaving comments, dropping dates and times that poke holes all over Marcus's story. The court of public opinion starts to get a little confused. At night, I sit with Lena's old coffee mug in my hand. I read through the doctor's notes, the bank audit, and a transcript of a voicemail where Marcus promised to pay it all back next month. A promise that was pure smoke. I'm not some naive idiot. I know this is gonna get ugly. Still, I feel a small, strange sense of relief. The truth is tethered to documents, and documents don't lie. Marcus hired some two-bit lawyer who looked like he got his degree off a matchbook. But when we finally got in front of a judge, all that drama and the sob story didn't mean squat. The system, for once, did exactly what it was built to do. And the cold, quiet click of the judge's gavel was louder than any of my son's shouting ever was. Before that first hearing, things got real messy. I'd moved into a small rental across town. Beige carpet, bad plumbing, smelled like old coffee, but at least it was mine. One night, maybe a week before court, I got a knock on the door. It was Erin, my daughter-in-law. She looked wrecked. Red eyes, shaky hands, clutching a grocery bag like a peace offering. "Tony," she said, voice trembling, "can we just talk? Marcus isn't himself. He's grieving. You're grieving. Maybe we can fix this without all the lawyers." I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "Erin, you two drained my account while I was burying my wife. We're past talk." Her lip quivered. Lena would have wanted peace. That one hit hard. Low blow. She knew how to swing sentiment like a hammer. "Yeah," I said, voice tight. "Lena also wanted honesty. Guess we both lost something." She left after that. Quiet tears and one last look. Part guilt, part manipulation. I shut the door and just stood there, heartbeat pounding like a nail gun. That night, Marcus blew up my phone. 30 texts, half threats, half guilt trips. "Dad, this is family. You'll regret this. She'd hate what you're doing." I didn't reply to a single one, just forwarded every damn message to my lawyer, Jackson Cole. Jackson was the kind of guy who looked like he chewed nails for breakfast. Clean cut, steady, voice like gravel. He said, "Let me handle it, Tony. Emotions are noise, paper's proof." He was right. The morning of the hearing, I walked into the courthouse feeling like I was standing on two legs made of glass. Marcus was already there with his bargain lawyer, some kid in a wrinkled suit who looked like he Googled "how to lawyer" on the way in. When the judge asked for statements, Marcus's lawyer whipped out a piece of paper, a damn birthday card, from Lena. It said, "Love you always, you'll always have a home with us." That one cut deep. For a second, I wasn't in court anymore. I was back home, watching Lena bake that cake, laughing while signing that card. My throat tightened. Jackson put a hand on my shoulder and whispered, "Focus, Tony. That's sentiment, not statute." Then came Maya, the forensic accountant. Calm, sharp, she slid papers across the table like a magician revealing a trick. On the day of Mrs. Rivera's funeral, there's a $2,000 purchase at a luxury electronics store, account ending in 2234, authorized by Marcus Rivera. The room went dead silent.
You could hear the clock tick on the wall. The judge didn't flinch. She looked over her glasses and said, "Eviction stands, restitution pending further review." When that gavel hit, my chest didn't swell, it just unclenched. I'd won, but it didn't feel like victory. It felt like a breather. That night, back at my rental, I sat under the dim light of my old desk lamp, scanning documents one by one. Receipts, statements, letters. The glow of the scanner lit up my tired face. I wasn't a dentist anymore. I was a one-man evidence factory. And for the first time, I realized this wasn't just about money. It was about rewriting what family meant. But I didn't know the story was about to hit the news, and once the press got a hold of it, family drama turned into public scandal. You won't believe how fast a rumor can outrun the truth.
Hey, before I go any deeper into this mess, let me say something real quick. If you've ever had someone break your trust, a friend, family, whoever, and you still found the strength to stand your ground instead of fall apart, then you get what this story's about. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like, not for me, but for everyone who's ever had to rebuild from scratch and keep their dignity while doing it. And tell me in the comments, what's harder for you, forgiving somebody or walking away for good? All right, now back to where things really start to twist. A couple days after the hearing, I thought things might finally calm down. Yeah, big mistake. I was back at the clinic, cleaning up between patients, when a buddy texted me a link. "Hey man, you seeing this?" It was a local news site, Coastal Ledger. Big headline: "Local son forced out by greedy father days after mother's death." My coffee went cold right there on the counter. They had Marcus's picture front and center, him looking all sad and broken like a damn saint. Aaron sitting beside him, eyes down, holding his hand for the cameras. The article painted me like some kind of heartless old man who threw his grieving kid out on the street. I scrolled. The reporter quoted Marcus saying stuff like, "Dad changed after Mom died. He locked us out. We just wanted to keep her memory alive." Man, it was such a clean lie, it almost sounded rehearsed. By lunchtime, the whole town knew. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Some folks sent kind words. Others straight up called me names. "Shame on you," one message read. "Your wife would be disgusted." That one stung. The internet doesn't need proof, just a good headline. And Marcus knew that. I called Jackson, told him what happened. He sighed. "Don't talk to the press, Tony. Silence protects you better than a statement ever will." Easier said than done. Small town, big mouths. I walked into the grocery store and people looked at me like I'd kicked a puppy. Even the cashier said, "Rough week, huh?" in that tone that means, "I read about you online." But then, something unexpected happened. People who actually knew Lena, her book club friends, her volunteers, they started posting too. Comment after comment. Tony was with her every night in hospice. I saw Marcus at the bar the same weekend as Mom was in chemo. It wasn't a full redemption arc, but man, it helped. The truth had legs, slower than lies, but stronger. At the clinic, one of my patients, an old veteran, left a note in my Dropbox. Just 3 words: "Keep your chin up." I still got that note taped above my desk. That night, I sat at my desk under that same dim lamp, scanning and emailing documents for Jackson. The glow of the screen made my hands look older than I felt. But I didn't care. Every file sent, every receipt saved, it was my armor. You want to know what grief taught me? That people don't just die once. They die every time someone rewrites their story. And I wasn't about to let anyone rewrite Lena's.
But the press wasn't done. Marcus was about to pull one more stunt, a tearful interview that'd make half the town hate me all over again. Only this time, I had receipts. I should have known Marcus wouldn't stop there. A week after that first article, I woke up to another headline, this time with his face plastered on the local morning show. Big bold letters across the screen. Heartbroken son speaks out. My dad kicked me out right after Mom's funeral. I damn near spit my coffee out. They had him sitting on some cozy studio couch, all teary-eyed, clutching Mom's old photo. Erin beside him again, doing her best supportive wife act. He said stuff like, "Dad's been different ever since Mom passed. Cold, distant. It's like I lost both parents at once." The host leaned in like she was interviewing a war hero. "And how are you holding up, Marcus?" He sniffed. "I'm just praying he remembers the man he used to be." I won't lie, that one cut deep. For a second, I almost felt guilty. Almost. Then I remembered the withdrawals, the fake signatures, the damned luxury electronics receipt Maya found dated the day of Lena's funeral. Yeah, that guilt didn't last long. By noon, my clinic's voicemail was full of angry calls. Some folks even left one-star reviews, people who'd never been in my chair. Just angry internet soldiers fighting for a cause they didn't understand. I called Jackson, told him I was done sitting quiet. He said, "No, Tony, don't feed the beast. You fight emotion with evidence." So that's what I did. Maya and Jackson worked overtime, pulling every record into neat, color-coded folders. Dates, statements, purchase logs. We built a timeline that told the real story. When they were done, Jackson looked at me and said, "If the press wants drama, we'll give them facts." We didn't run to the media. We filed a response in court, public record. And sure enough, the minute those documents hit the docket, the truth started leaking. Neighbors who'd taken Marcus's side went quiet. A few even apologized. One old friend called me and said, "Man, I can't believe your own kid did that. You handled it better than I ever could have." Maybe, but I didn't feel better. I just felt tired. Then karma did what lawyers couldn't. Marcus lost his job. The dealership said his personal situation was too public, too messy. Erin started pulling away, stopped showing up in his social posts. And me? I didn't celebrate. I just sat in my little rental late at night, scanning more papers, filing them neatly, one after another. Because when life falls apart, paperwork is the only thing that doesn't lie to you. That's when the idea hit me. If I was going to fight for something, it wasn't just going to be against Marcus. It was going to be for Lena, for what she believed in. That's how the Lena Rivera Foundation was born, out of betrayal, loss, and a stack of receipts. But before it helped anyone, Marcus came back swinging with one last dirty trick. Just when I thought things were finally quieting down, Marcus found a new way to drag my name through the mud. I just filed the paperwork for the Lena Rivera Foundation. Something good, something real, when a buddy from the clinic texted, "Turn on Channel 7, you're not gonna like this." So I did. There they were again, Marcus and Erin, sitting under those bright studio lights like two angels of heartbreak. The headline at the bottom of the screen read, "Father turns wife's death into a business. Son speaks out." I almost laughed. Then I didn't. Erin leaned forward, tears perfectly timed, saying how Lena wanted family unity, not lawsuits. Marcus nodded like some wounded saint and said, "He's using Mom's name to make himself look good. None of this is what she wanted." That line right there, that's the one that made my jaw tighten so hard it popped. Because if anyone knew what Lena wanted, it sure as hell wasn't the two people who drained her accounts while she was dying. Within an hour, my foundation's inbox was flooded. Half hate mail, half confusion. "Is this really charity or just revenge?" one email read. Sponsors paused their donations. Volunteers texted to ask if they should lay low until it blows over. I felt that old anger rise, that hot, shaky kind that makes you want to storm out and scream your truth to the world. But I didn't. I'd learned by now. Yelling just feeds the circus. So instead, I called a board meeting. Just 4 of us. Me, Sienna, our volunteer director, an old friend of Lena's, and the accountant. We sat in that tiny office with coffee cups and tired eyes, trying to figure out how to keep the foundation alive. Sienna leaned across the table and said, "Tony, people will forget headlines, but they don't forget action. Let's do the work quietly. Let them talk." And damn if she wasn't right. So that's what we did. We scrapped the press release, canceled the ribbon cutting, and opened quietly at the community center. No cameras, no fanfare. First patient was a kid named Rosa, 8 years old, broken front tooth, scared stiff. We fixed her up free of charge. She left smiling, and her mom hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. That moment, that was worth more than every headline combined. A few weeks later, Jackson called, voice cool as ever. "The court approved an injunction, Tony. Any more public defamation from Marcus or Aaron, and they'll be paying fines." Finally. Not revenge, just balance. I leaned back in my chair, staring at Lena's photo on the desk. "Guess we're doing it your way after all, honey." But peace never lasts long. Marcus wasn't done yet. He filed an appeal, trying to spin the court back in his favor. And that next hearing, that's when the truth finally hit daylight. By the time the appeal hearing rolled around, I was tired. Not the kind of tired a nap fixes, the kind that lives in your bones. Marcus had filed for an appeal, saying the eviction and restitution were too harsh. Translation? He still hadn't learned a damn thing. Courtrooms are funny places. They don't care about feelings, just facts. Still, when I saw Marcus sitting there across the room, head down, suit too big for him, I felt that old ache. He looked more like a scared kid than the man who'd gutted my trust. Part of me almost wanted to tell him to walk away before this got worse. But that part stayed quiet. The judge walked in. Same woman from before. Sharp eyes, no nonsense. She went through the motions, asked for statements, and then nodded at Maya, our forensic accountant. I swear, that woman is sharper than a scalpel. She stepped up to the stand with her neat stack of papers. "Your Honor, we conducted a detailed audit. These transactions," she held up a page, "show a clear pattern of personal spending from the plaintiff's account. For example, on the day of Mrs. Rivera's funeral, there's a $2,143 charge at a luxury electronics store." The room went still. Even Marcus's lawyer looked like he wanted to melt into his chair. Then Maya added, "These purchases continue regularly for months. Jewelry, high-end dining, transfers to a secondary account in Mr. Rivera's name. This is not caregiving expense. This is exploitation." She didn't flinch, didn't sugarcoat a damn thing. Marcus's lawyer tried a sympathy play, pulled out one of Lena's old cards again. "Your Honor, Mrs. Rivera wrote here, 'You'll always have a home with us.' Doesn't that prove intent to provide for her son?" The judge raised an eyebrow. "That's sentiment, counselor. Sentiment doesn't supersede statute." Her voice was calm, but final, like a door clicking shut.
I sat there, hands clasped, heart beating steady for the first time in months. It wasn't joy, it was relief, the kind that comes when the truth finally stops running and stands still long enough to breathe. When the gavel came down, she ruled in my favor. Eviction upheld. Restitution confirmed. Marcus's head dropped. Aaron didn't even look at him. As everyone filed out, I stayed seated for a second, just watching the empty space where my son had been. There's no victory in watching someone you love fall apart, even when they deserve it. But I knew one thing for sure. The truth finally had my back. Outside the courthouse, reporters tried to shout questions. I just kept walking, because at that point, the noise didn't matter anymore. I had work to do, real work. But then Marcus texted me out of nowhere. "Dad, can we talk?" I should have ignored it, but what he said next, it cracked something open in me I didn't even know was left.
Marcus texted me 2 days after the appeal. "Dad, can we talk? Just us?" For a minute, I just stared at it. My thumb hovered over the screen like it weighed 100 pounds. Part of me wanted to delete it and move on, pretend the whole bloodline didn't exist. But then I heard Lena's voice in my head, soft as ever. "Don't shut the door all the way, Tony. Leave a crack for light." So, yeah, I said yes. We met at this little diner off Main Street, one of those places that's been around forever, smells like burnt coffee and fried hope. I got there early, ordered black coffee, no sugar. My hands were steady, but my gut twisting. Marcus walked in 10 minutes late, looked smaller somehow, thinner, unshaven, eyes red like he hadn't slept in days. He slid into the booth across from me, couldn't even look me in the eye. "Thanks for coming," he mumbled. I just nodded. There was a long silence, the kind that hums between two people who've said too much in the wrong ways. Then he finally spoke. "Dad, I screwed up. I know I did. I was angry. I was drunk half the time. I didn't know how to deal when Mom got sick." I didn't say anything, just sipped my coffee. He kept going. "I wasn't stealing, at least not at first. I thought I'd pay it back. But the bills, the pressure, Aaron pushing me to get ahead, it just got out of hand." He rubbed his eyes, tears starting to build. "And then you froze the accounts and I panicked. I said things I shouldn't have." "Yeah," I said quietly. "You did." He flinched a little, nodded. "I'm not asking for money," he said. "I just want a chance to make it right." I leaned back, looked him dead in the eye. "You don't fix this with words, Marcus. You fix it with time and truth. Both are overdue." He looked down, muttered, "I miss Mom." That one hit hard. For a second, all the walls I built cracked a little. I missed her too, every damn day. He finally asked, "Can I at least come home? Just for a bit?" I shook my head. "That house isn't a home anymore, son. Not until we build something new. And that's on you." He didn't argue, just sat there, staring at his empty cup like maybe it had answers in the bottom. When we stood to leave, he said, "You hate me?" I sighed. "No, Marcus, but I can't trust you yet, and that's worse." He nodded and walked out, didn't look back. I sat there a long time after, listening to the clink of dishes and the hum of old country music from the jukebox. For the first time, I didn't feel angry, just tired. But maybe, just maybe, that was the start of healing. I thought that meeting was closure, but I was dead wrong. Marcus's next move, it wasn't an apology. It was a stunt that nearly destroyed everything I'd built. I should have known that coffee talk wasn't the end. Marcus never just lets things end. He needs a stage, an audience, someone to clap for his pain. About a week later, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Texts, notifications, voicemails, all saying the same thing. "Tony, have you seen the video?" So I looked. And there it was. Marcus, standing right in front of my house, my damn house, with a camera crew, holding a framed photo of Lena like some holy relic. He started talking into the mic, voice cracking on cue. "This is where my mother lived, where my father threw me out. I just wish we could have grieved together instead of fighting over money." Behind him, Erin sniffled into a tissue like she was auditioning for a soap opera. They had sad piano music playing in the background, for God's sake. It was the most performative pile of crap I'd ever seen. The caption read, "Son seeks forgiveness from cold-hearted father." The video went viral locally. A couple thousand shares, bunch of hashtags like #ForgiveFamily, #GrievingSon, #HeartlessDad. By lunchtime, my foundation's inbox was swamped again. Some people pulled their donations, others sent hate mail. I remember sitting there at my desk, fists clenched, just whispering, "Really, kid? This is your idea of redemption?" Jackson called 20 minutes later. "Tony, don't touch it. We'll handle it legally. You're clean. Let him keep talking. He's digging his own grave." But you know what? Jackson was right. Because this time, Marcus overplayed his hand. One of Lena's old friends, sweet lady named Carol, who used to run the literacy program with her, shared a photo from that same day the video was shot. Marcus holding a beer at a buddy's backyard barbecue, timestamp and all. Comments blew up fast. "Thought you were grieving. Bro, that piano music ain't fooling anybody. Guess Mom's memory had a commercial break." The tide turned quick. By evening, even Erin had deleted the video. And me? I didn't say a damn word. Didn't post, didn't comment, didn't smile. I just opened the donation portal for the Lena Rivera Foundation again. Within 48 hours, it doubled what it lost. People didn't just send money, they sent messages. "Keep doing what you're doing. You handled that with class." That night, sitting in my office with the lamp burning low, I realized something. You don't beat lies by shouting louder. You beat them by staying steady long enough for the truth to breathe. And that's when I decided, no more reacting. From now on, I'd build something that couldn't be undone by anyone, not even my own blood. But just when I thought karma had closed the book, the court had other plans. Marcus's wages were getting garnished. And what happened next? It proved that even justice can sting when it's family. You ever watch karma clock in for work? Yeah, it doesn't rush, but man, it never misses a shift. Couple months after that stunt video, the judge's order kicked in. Wage garnishment, restitution payments, the whole deal. I started getting small deposits every few weeks. $200 here, $300 there, barely a dent in what he owed. But still, every payment came with a court reference number, like a quiet reminder that the system was actually doing something right for once. I didn't touch the money. Every cent went straight into the Lena Rivera Foundation account. Felt like poetic bookkeeping, her name cleaning up the mess her son made. Meanwhile, Marcus was sliding fast. Lost his job, moved into a small apartment outside town. Erin packed her things and left. Guess the camera lights don't look as flattering when the bills hit. I didn't celebrate it. I couldn't. I'd wanted accountability, not destruction. But that's the thing about choices. Once you let them loose, they come back how they want, not how you planned. Then one night, around 9 p.m., I got a call from a buddy who works at the gas station. "Tony, your kid's here. Looks rough. Tried to pocket a sandwich and a couple sodas." My stomach dropped. It wasn't about the food, it was what it meant. Marcus had officially hit bottom. He got arrested for petty theft, mugshot and all. The local paper ran it small, but I saw it. God, I saw it. And for the first time since this whole damn storm started, I didn't feel angry. I just felt sad. Next morning, I called Jackson. "Can I help him without undoing everything?" I asked. Jackson sighed, like he'd been waiting for that question. "Yeah, you can request the court to add counseling and community service to his restitution instead of more fines. Won't make you weak, Tony. Makes you human." So that's what I did. The judge approved it. Counseling, job training, and community service at a local men's outreach program. I figured maybe if he couldn't learn from me, he could at least learn from life. Meanwhile, the foundation had its first full clinic day. We treated 12 kids. One of them, Rosa, the girl with the chipped tooth from earlier, came back grinning, showing off her new smile. Her mom hugged me so tight I thought my ribs would crack. That moment hit harder than any courtroom win. That night, I sat alone in my office, sipping cold coffee, staring at Lena's photo. "Guess we're both still fixing things, huh?" I said out loud. But just when things started looking steady, an opportunity came knocking. Big nonprofit wanted to expand our work. Sounded great, until I realized growing fast meant risking everything I just rebuilt. When the email first came in, I thought it was spam. Subject line said, "Partnership Opportunity, Smile Forward Foundation." Turns out, it was real. A regional nonprofit, bigger budget, bigger reach, wanted to partner with the Lena Rivera Foundation to expand free dental clinics across the state. They were offering resources, equipment, even grants. On paper, it was a dream. But in my gut, it felt like standing at the edge of a cliff again. See, I just started to breathe again. The foundation was running steady. Small team, loyal folks, no drama. Now here was this huge offer that could triple our impact and maybe tear apart everything I'd finally built back up. I brought it to the board. Me, Sienna, Carol, and Dr. Patel, our volunteer coordinator. Sienna, always the realist, crossed her arms and said, "Tony, big means busy, busy means politics. Are you sure you're ready for that circus again?" She wasn't wrong. Patel, on the other hand, was all in. "You could help hundreds more kids. Isn't that why you started this, Tony?" Also true. So there I was, caught between safety and purpose, between peace and purpose. That night, I sat at home. Same desk, same lamp, same chipped coffee mug, going over spreadsheets and contracts until my eyes blurred. The numbers looked good, the fine print looked fine, but something about it felt loud, like too many voices would be steering the ship. And I kept hearing Lena in my head, laughing that soft laugh of hers. "Tony, not every yes is worth the paperwork." Still, the next morning I got up, shaved, put on a clean shirt, and drove to their office for the meeting. They had one of those glass buildings, sterile, shiny, smells like air conditioning and ambition. The Smile Forward folks were nice enough, but they spoke in buzzwords: scalability, donor synergy, community optics. All I could think about was Rosa, that kid with the chipped tooth. She didn't need synergy. She needed someone who cared enough to show up. So after an hour of talk, I leaned forward and said, "Look, I'm not trying to build an empire. I'm trying to fix smiles. You can't franchise compassion." The room went quiet. They didn't know whether to clap or fire me. By the end of the week, I decided to compromise. Small partnership, pilot program only. Grow slow, stay honest. It wasn't flashy, but it was real. That night, I walked past the clinic, lights off, chairs lined up neat. For the first time in a long time,
I felt proud. Not loud, not angry, just steady. But life's funny. Just when you think you've learned balance, it throws you a curveball. Marcus filed another appeal claiming financial hardship, and what I did next shocked even my own lawyer. When Jackson called and said Marcus filed again, I damn near laughed. Another appeal. This time he was claiming financial hardship, said the wage garnishment was too much and he couldn't rebuild his life. Part of me wanted to tell the judge, yeah, well, welcome to consequences, kid. But another part of me, the part that's been staring at Lena's picture every night, just felt tired. At the hearing, Marcus looked different. Not slick, not defensive, just drained. His shirt was wrinkled, hair uncut, voice low. For once, he didn't bring the crocodile tears. Your Honor, he said, I've been trying to make things right, but I can't stay above water with the current payments. I'm asking for some breathing room. I'm not trying to escape responsibility. I just need a chance. His lawyer, new guy this time, more composed, kept it simple. We're requesting a reduced monthly amount or a structured plan tied to employment training. Jackson whispered, we can fight this easy, Tony. He's stalling again. And for a second, I wanted to. God, I wanted to. I could already hear my own argument forming, the withdrawals, the receipts, the pain. But then I looked at Marcus. He wasn't the cocky guy from that TV interview anymore. He wasn't the angry kid who'd yelled at me at the funeral. He was just a man who ran out a fight. When it was my turn to speak, I stood up and said something that surprised even me. Your Honor, I'm not opposed to adjusting the payment plan on two conditions. One, that he continues counseling, and two, that he completes volunteer hours at a community outreach center. Not mine, somewhere he can actually help people without the cameras. The courtroom went quiet. Marcus looked up at me, eyes wide, like he didn't believe what he was hearing. The judge raised a brow. Mr. Rivera, you're willing to modify restitution voluntarily? Yeah, I said. Money's not the point. Growth is. She nodded. Motion approved. Modified payment plan, mandatory counseling, and community service. Let's hope this leads to progress. After the gavel hit, Jackson leaned over and whispered, You just outsmarted him by being decent. That's rare. I smirked. Nah, just tired of being angry. Walking out of that courthouse, the air felt lighter. Forgiveness isn't easy. It's not some movie ending where everything's fixed. It's messy. It's quiet. But maybe that was the point. That night, I sat in my car outside the clinic, watching the lights glow through the window. I thought about Lena, about the way she always believed people could change. And for the first time, I hoped she was right. But I wasn't ready for what came next, because just as things started to settle, a reporter showed up, asking questions about Lena's will and my real motives. And my answer? That one changed everything. A few weeks after that last hearing, I got a call from some local reporter. Young guy, probably fresh out of college, voice full of fake politeness. Mr. Rivera, we're doing a feature on your foundation. Mind if I ask a few questions about the lawsuit and your son? I knew where this was headed. They always start with the good work and end with the drama. Still, I said, sure, kid, come by the clinic. But you're gonna get the truth, not the clickbait version.
He showed up with his little notepad and recorder, looking nervous, probably expected me to slam the door or give him the no comment routine. Instead, I poured us both coffee and said, "Go ahead, ask." He leaned forward. "Some people say you started the foundation to fix your image after what happened with your son. Others say it's revenge in disguise. What do you say to that?" I took a long sip of coffee, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "I say people love simple stories. Villains, heroes, victims, but life's messier than that." He started scribbling. I kept going. "I didn't start this foundation to fix my image. I started it because my wife believed in helping people who couldn't afford to smile. She used to say, kindness shouldn't come with a price tag. So yeah, I built something in her name. And if folks want to call that revenge, fine, then I guess I'm guilty of turning pain into purpose." He nodded slowly, probably realizing he wasn't getting the headline he wanted. Then he asked, "Do you forgive your son?" I paused. That one stung. Forgive? Man, that's a loaded word. I don't know if forgiveness is a finish line you cross. Some days I think I'm there, some days I'm not. But I do know this, I stopped letting anger run the show. That's something. The kid looked stunned, probably expected a soundbite, not a confession. Next week, the article ran online with the headline, "He lost his wife, his son, and his peace. Then he built something beautiful." Not perfect, but honest. The comments weren't toxic this time. Folks shared it, left words like respect, strength, and real. Donations spiked again. Volunteers doubled. For the first time, I felt like I'd stepped out from under the shadow of the mess. That night, I sat on my porch with a cold beer and watched the sunset hit the house Lena used to decorate every spring. The wind felt lighter. Not forgiveness, not closure, just air I could finally breathe. But life had one last surprise waiting. Months later, Marcus reached out again. Not with excuses, not for money, but with an offer I never saw coming. It was a Tuesday, the kind of slow, gray morning where even the coffee tastes tired when I got the text. "Dad, I'm in town. Can we meet? Please, just 5 minutes." No drama, no guilt trip, just that. I stared at it for a while, thinking maybe I should ignore it. I'd finally found my balance. Why risk shaking it again? But something in the word please hit different this time. So I said, "Meet me at the clinic, after hours." He showed up around 6. Same place, different man. Hair trimmed, clean shirt, no fake confidence this time. He walked in holding a small folder, hands shaking like he was walking into court again. "Hey, Dad." "Hey," I said, keeping it simple. He looked around the clinic, the dental chairs, the photos of kids smiling on the wall, the sign with Lena's name. "She'd love this," he said quietly. "Yeah," I replied, "she would." Then he handed me the folder. I finished my community service. Been working at that men's outreach center. They hired me part-time, counseling guys coming out of rehab. He paused. "I saved up some money. It's not much, but I want to donate it to the foundation in Mom's name." I just stared at him. Wasn't expecting that. This wasn't another PR stunt or a guilt plea. It was simple, honest. "You don't have to do that, Marcus. You need that money more than we do." He shook his head. "Nah, I owe this. Not just the cash, but the gesture. You told me to fix it with time and truth. Took me a while, but I'm trying." Man, I swear, my throat damn near closed up. For a long minute, neither of us spoke. Just silence. The kind that doesn't hurt anymore. Just sits there, peaceful. Finally, I said, "All right, but if you're gonna donate, you do it right. You come to the next clinic day and help out. No cameras, no speeches, just work." He smiled, a real one this time. Small, shaky, but real. Deal. He turned to leave, but stopped at the door. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "Thanks for not giving up on me, even when I deserved it." I just nodded, didn't trust my voice enough to speak. After he left, I sat there staring at that folder on my desk, a little envelope of cash, some receipts, and a handwritten note that said, "For Mom, from Marcus." It wasn't closure, it wasn't perfect, but it was something better. Hope with calluses on it. That next clinic day, Marcus actually showed up, and what happened between him and one of the kids there? That's when I realized redemption doesn't show up clean. It shows up sweaty, messy, and real. Clinic day started early. The sun wasn't even up yet, and I was already brewing bad coffee and setting out chairs. I wasn't sure if Marcus would actually show, but around 8 o'clock, there he was, standing at the door, hoodie on, coffee in hand, looking nervous as hell. "Didn't think you were a morning person," I said. He smirked a little. "I'm trying out this new thing called responsibility." We got to work. He handled paperwork, cleaned instruments, helped kids pick out sticker sheets after their checkups. Nothing glamorous, just steady work. And for the first time in years, it wasn't awkward between us. Midday, this little kid named Liam came in, maybe 7 or 8, shaking like a leaf. Wouldn't open his mouth for the exam. Said he was scared of drills. His mom looked worn out. Said they'd been bouncing between shelters and free clinics for months. I tried calming him, but he was locked up tight. Then Marcus crouched beside the chair and said, "Hey, buddy, you ever play video games?" Liam nodded. "Cool. You know how your controller vibrates when you use a power-up? That's what this little drill thing does. It's a tooth power-up machine. Helps you get superhero teeth." The kid giggled. Just like that, fear gone. He let us finish the procedure without a single tear. Afterward, Liam gave Marcus a high five and said, "You're like a dentist's sidekick." He laughed, ruffled his hair, and said, "Nah, man, I'm just a helper today." When they left, I turned to Marcus and said, "Didn't know you had that in you." He shrugged. "Didn't either. Guess I've been too busy messing up to notice." That one hit me hard. For years, I thought the best I could hope for was distance. Keep my head down, do the work, survive the silence. But watching Marcus help that kid, it felt like seeing Lena's heart in motion again. Not perfect, not pretty, but real. Later that day, as we locked up, he said, "You ever think Mom's still watching?" I said, "Yeah, and if she is, she's probably laughing her ass off watching us finally act right." We both cracked up, a real laugh this time, the kind that doesn't carry weight. When he left, he gave me a hug. Not a long one, not dramatic, just enough to say, "I'm still here." And for the first time since that awful day at the funeral, I believed we might actually make it through this. But just as life started to feel normal again, I got a letter in the mail that brought back the past in a way I wasn't ready for. Because this one wasn't from Marcus, it was from Lena.
It showed up in the mail on a Thursday. Plain white envelope, no return address, just my name written in Lena's handwriting. I froze the second I saw it. My brain knew it couldn't be possible, but my heart damn near stopped. I sat there at the kitchen table for a good 10 minutes, just staring at it. The paper was slightly yellowed, edges soft, like it had been sitting somewhere, waiting its turn. Finally, I opened it. Inside was a single folded sheet and a note from Carol, Lena's old friend who used to help with her literacy program. "Tony, Lena gave me this a few weeks before she passed. She said to send it when the time felt right. I think that time is now." My hands shook as I unfolded the letter. Her handwriting, looping, neat, a little uneven near the end, hit me like a punch straight to the chest. My Tony, if you're reading this, it means life's done what it always does. Keeps going whether we're ready or not. I know you, honey. You'll bury your pain under work, under pride, under logic. You'll pretend you're fine until you're not. Don't. Grief isn't a bill you pay once. It's a subscription, and sometimes it shows up when you least expect it. Be patient with yourself, and with Marcus. He's got your stubbornness and my temper. Dangerous combo, huh? But deep down, he's good. Don't let hurt make you forget that. Promise me this, whatever happens, don't let bitterness live in our home. Build something kind, something that helps. That's how you keep me around. And Tony, smile once in a while. You look better when you do. Love you always, Lena. I didn't even realize I was crying until a tear hit the paper. Her words felt alive, like she'd walked right back into the room just to slap some sense into me. Gentle, firm, and full of grace. I sat there for a long time, just staring at that last line. Build something kind. The foundation, the clinics, even forgiving Marcus, it all suddenly made sense. I wasn't just doing it for her, I was doing it with her. Later that night, I called Marcus. He picked up on the first ring. "I got a letter from Mom," I said. He went quiet. "What'd she say?" I smiled through the tears. Exactly what we both needed to hear. But what neither of us knew then, that letter would end up changing more than just our hearts. Because a year later, Lena's words would bring us both face to face with the biggest decision of our lives. A year's a funny thing. Long enough for wounds to scar, short enough that the memories still sneak up on you. The Lena Rivera Foundation had grown more than I ever imagined. We had 3 clinics now, one right in the old neighborhood where me and Lena started our life together. Rosa, that little girl with the chipped tooth, she was on our new billboard, smiling ear to ear. Every time I drove past it, I couldn't help but grin back. Marcus was still helping out part-time, quiet, consistent, no fanfare. He showed up early, stayed late, handled logistics, did whatever needed doing. Never once asked for recognition. Sometimes we'd share coffee before the day started. The conversations were simple. Work talk, sports, the weather. But under all that small talk was something bigger. Trust, slowly growing roots again. Then one morning, I got an email that stopped me cold. Subject line, nomination, State Humanitarian Award. At first, I thought it was spam again, but no, it was real. The foundation had been nominated for a state-level humanitarian award, and they wanted me and Marcus to attend the ceremony together as founders. Founders. That word sat heavy on me. Technically, Marcus wasn't listed that way on paper, but emotionally, he'd earned it. When I told him, he just blinked like I'd spoken another language. Me? Why me? He asked. Because you're part of this. You helped rebuild it. And because your mom would have wanted us both standing there. He just nodded, quiet. But a week later, he showed up in a new suit, still had the tag on it, and said, "Guess I should look the part." The night of the ceremony, we stood backstage, waiting to be called up. The announcer started reading about the foundation, the free clinics, the outreach programs, the lives changed. I glanced over at Marcus. His hands were trembling, same as mine. Then they said Lena's name. Founded in memory of Lena Rivera, whose legacy of compassion continues through her husband Tony and son Marcus. That one hit deep. The crowd stood up. Applause rolled through the hall like thunder. Marcus leaned in and whispered, "We did it, Dad." I nodded. "No, kid, she did." When we walked onto that stage, I swear, for a second, I felt her there. Not like a ghost, but like warmth in the room. Not gone, just present in a different way. We didn't need speeches, didn't need flash. Just being there, together, said everything. But that night didn't end with the applause, because after the lights went down, Marcus told me something that changed everything again. Something about Mom's will that he'd just discovered.
After the ceremony, we grabbed a late bite at this quiet diner off the highway. Same one where me and Marcus had our first tense talk months ago. Funny how life loops back like that. The waitress recognized me. "Congrats, Mr. Rivera," she said, topping off my coffee. "Your wife would be proud." Yeah, she would. Marcus sat across from me, fiddling with his napkin. Something was on his mind, I could feel it. Finally, he said, "Dad, there's something you should know about Mom's will." That got my attention real quick. He pulled a folded paper out of his pocket, old, creased, notarized at the bottom. "I didn't see this pot before," he said. "It was attached to one of the copies Carol gave me when I started counseling. Guess she held it back till now." I leaned in. My name and Lena's were typed across the top. But under the legal stuff, there was a short paragraph written in Lena's handwriting. "If our son ever loses his way, don't close the door on him, Tony. Let time and love do the work that anger can't. And if he finds his way back, don't just forgive him, build something with him. He'll need it, and so will you." My throat went tight. All this time, the fights, the silence, the courtrooms, the foundation, she'd seen it coming. Not the details, but the shape of it. She knew the two stubborn men she loved would break before they bent. I looked at Marcus, and for the first time in years, I didn't see the kid who'd betrayed me. I saw my son, flawed, older, trying. He said, "Mom was right. I needed this, all of it. The pain, the fallout, the work. I just wish she could see us now." I said, "She does. Trust me. She never missed a thing." We sat there for a while. No more apologies left to trade. No bitterness left to burn. Just two men sitting in the quiet she'd asked for. When we left, Marcus stopped by the door and said, "Hey, Dad, you still got room at the clinic for one more volunteer?" I smiled. Always. As we stepped out into the cool night air, I looked up at the sky, that soft, endless black dotted with stars. It didn't feel heavy anymore. Grief had finally loosened its grip, turning into something else. Gratitude. Lena had been right all along. You don't keep love alive by holding on tight. You keep it alive by letting it change shape, from wife to son to legacy. And somewhere, I swear, I could almost hear her laugh. This story isn't about loss. It's about what happens when love outlives it. If this story hit home for you, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and tell me in the comments, who's the one person you'd forgive if you could?